They're part of the Homeland Security, and their job is to arrest illegal aliens. If they don't do this, then they're not doing their jobs and they shouldn't be getting paid. So we shouldn't be questioning what they're doing and why they're doing it. Hi, and welcome to Seasoned and Unfiltered. Glad to see y'all back again today. Last episode, we were discussing illegal aliens. We took a number of 400,000 that had been arrested that we had seen on the news and broke it down by what was going on as far as who were violent criminals, who were criminals, and who were still criminals because they broke into our country, but they don't have any kind of arrest or anything that they've done since they got here other than breaking into our country. It's kind of led me to want to discuss ICE a little bit further today in this segment. And because of all that is going on, and kind of explain what their job is and how they fall. They're part of the Homeland Security, and their job is to arrest illegal aliens. If they don't do this, then they're not doing their jobs and they shouldn't be getting paid. So we shouldn't be questioning what they're doing and why they're doing it. President Trump also ran on the fact that he was going to have them do this because the Biden administration had allowed, in my opinion, about 20 million illegal aliens to enter this country. What I'd like to do first is I have a short clip of Hakeem Jeffries, and watch this and we'll come back.
Police officers don't use masks. County sheriffs don't use masks. State troopers don't use masks. Why is it that ICE agents who are untrained are being unleashed on American communities with this type of lawlessness, violence, and brutality? Unacceptable, unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Yeah, and we went over this with Tom Homan a little earlier. Of course, they point out that assaults against ICE officers have gone up over 1,300% this past year, from about 275 compared to 19 the year before. So there are some legitimate concerns about those agents being targeted.
So you saw the clip. You see where Hakeem Jeffries is, and he talks about ICE, and he has an issue with masks and why ICE is wearing masks. He says that police officers don't wear masks, sheriff's department don't wear masks, state troopers don't wear masks. Why does ICE have to wear a mask? You've heard this probably before if you're keeping up with the news, unless, of course, maybe you're watching some media that doesn't like to tell you the truth. But ICE officials are being doxxed, and they're being harassed. They're being threatened. Their families are being threatened if they're able to find out who their families are. These men and women of ICE are under attack by what I consider to be crazy people for doing their jobs. You've seen news reports about ICE officials being too mean to people who are attacking them. It's one thing to stand out on the side of the road in a parking lot and picket them and talk about them, something along that lines. But when you start getting in their faces and yelling and screaming and spitting at them and kicking their vehicles, kicking them, throwing items at them, be it frozen bottles of water, rocks, bricks, I don't know, whatever you want to say, you're protesting now. You're doing things that are wrong. You're not supposed to harass any kind of police officer, law enforcement, and ICE is law enforcement. So you're harassing them, and you need to stop that. If you're watching this and you're doing that, I'm telling you to stop it. But that's the problem. They're wearing the mask to protect themselves, to protect their wives, husbands, their families. They don't want any harm to come to them. Their actions have caused people, maybe their actions haven't been perfect. Maybe they've overreacted in some cases. I'm not on the front line with them. They're getting harassed 24/7. So they can't sleep because they've got people outside their hotel rooms. There's video you can watch. You probably got to go to YouTube or something to watch it, because you won't see it on ABC, NBC, CBS, probably CNN. But there's video of protesters busting down, breaking glass to get into hotels to harass these ICE agents. And so I can understand why they want to wear a mask. You also don't know what those ICE agents may do in the future. They may have some kind of an undercover operation or something else that they need to do, and they don't want people to know who they are when they do this other project that they're assigned to, this other job that they're assigned to. So they need to protect their identity that way. ICE officers have also been, Jeffries mentioned something about them not identifying themselves, that they need to identify themselves. Most of them, I'm not going to say every one of them, but most of them have something on them that notes that they're an officer, ICE, something along that lines. Some may not. It might have been ripped off. Maybe they didn't wear it that day. But they are required to say that they're ICE, and I believe that when they go into a house or go to a car or employment, wherever they go, they identify themselves as ICE. They're required to do that by law, and they go in and they tell people that that's what they do, that they're ICE and they're there to arrest someone, find out if someone's there, whatever it may be. I'm going to go back to something I said in the last episode of Seasoned and Unfiltered about if all the local police and sheriff's departments would work with ICE, and when they happen to arrest either a criminal or a violent criminal, illegal alien, if they would contact them and let them know that they've got them in custody, then one or two ICE officers could come, pick that illegal alien up, and they could go ahead and proceed with getting them deported. They decide to go ahead and release them because they're a sanctuary city. And the sanctuary city wants to protect these violent criminals who have possibly murdered, raped, molested, done whatever they've done. They want to protect them. So they let them go on bail or whatever it may be. And now in order to arrest this particular illegal alien or aliens, whatever they are, they now have to put together a task force, a group of people, 5, 10 agents or more, and go and find this person and arrest them. They don't know if they have weapons, if there's other people there, they don't know what's going on. So it's not safe. Their initial academy training, because anybody that goes into law enforcement has to go to an academy. If you're going to become a state trooper, you go to state trooper academy. If you're going to become a local police officer, you go to the local police officer. Sheriff's department, you go to the sheriff's department. You go to an academy to learn. You learn about the law that you're going to be doing, that you're going to be applying. You got to learn all the book knowledge. You got to get the book knowledge of what you're supposed to do. You learn about federal and criminal law, constitutional law. You go through firearms training so that you know how to use a firearm properly. You may have used a firearm before you decided to become an officer, an ICE officer, or a police officer, but it helps. You go through defensive tactics, surveillance, report writing, all these different things, okay? You also you learn about trafficking, you learn about immigration law. Now, let's move on to what else they do. They learn about detention standards, transporting, defensive tactics, use of force, Then they go into courtroom procedures if they have to go in there to the courtroom. As I mentioned, the use of force. They learn about de-escalation techniques, cultural awareness, civil rights and civil liberty protections, how to interview and interrogate, professional conduct standards, all of these things. And then throughout their career as an ICE agent, they have to continue going through training. They are required to take so much training a year. So they don't just go to the academy, pass the academy, go out there and work and never see any more training. They get more and more and more training all the time. So, Hakeem Jeffries, you're a liar. Just like so many of your other buddies out there, you sit there and you lie. ICE agents are trained. They continue to get trained. Trust me, they get counseled by their superiors on a regular basis. Are ICE agents perfect? No. Hakeem Jeffries, are you perfect? Don't say yes, because we already caught you in a lie today. None of us are perfect. You hear me stutter sometimes. I will make mistakes on this program sometimes. I'll let you know if I find out that I made a mistake. None of us are perfect. ICE agents are going to make mistakes. But you've got to allow them to do their jobs. And don't sit out there and lie and say they don't have any training, that they just walked in off the street and they put ice on them and took them out, put them to work. Sorry, that's not how it works. At all. Now, I'd like to talk about something a little bit different. Unfortunately, the politics of today is basically forcing me to talk about these subjects. I'd really like to talk about other things. I'd really like to talk about some positive things, and hopefully we can. I don't want to always have to talk about politics. But there's just so much negativism out there. It drives me crazy. And really, maybe the right word is divisiveness that's going on out there. And it's bad. It's really, really, really bad how divided this country is. And I know all of you have seen it. The right says the left is more divisive. And the left says the right's more divisive. It all goes back and forth, back and forth. And it just seems like we're constantly arguing with each other. Let's take a moment. Former President Obama was doing an interview, and here's just a short clip of what he says about who's responsible for the divisiveness in this country.
The other side does the mean, angry,
demagoguery,
exclusive, us, them, divisive politics. That's their home court.
Yeah.
Our court is coming together.
Former President Obama accusing Republicans of pushing divisive politics, cheering Democrats as the party of unity. But apparently, history shows otherwise. Let's roll the tape.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
We are living in a moment where the Republican Party has, to a large degree, become a cult of the individual.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
It's just a vile creature, the worst thing on the face of the earth.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Now that we've seen the clip, I'm going to give you not only my opinion, but I'm going to give you some facts. The facts don't necessarily come from me, that it's from research and it's from other institutions, universities, whatever, that have researched and done things. All I can say is that I believe that people like former President Obama are ridiculous when they sit here and they I mean, think about what think about the clip you just watched. Did he seem a little divisive himself just in what he was saying about them and us? And I mean, he's one of the worst about being that way and just trying to divide the country. He did a lot during his presidency to divide the country. All you ever hear about is how President Trump is always trying to divide the country. He's not perfect. President Trump has made some mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and say I support 100% of the things he's done. But for the most part, he's doing a great job. He's making this country better. He's fixing 4 years of horrible presidency on Biden's part. And sometimes, as most of us know, we try something and it doesn't work. So we reevaluate and we try something else. And that's what Trump does a lot of. Not all the time. Sometimes it works just like that. But sometimes he tries something and you go, that's not exactly the way it should have gone. Minnesota is a good example. Minneapolis, sanctuary city. So he sent ICE in. ICE made some mistakes. He made some mistakes. Trump did. Reevaluated. Got Mr. Holman in there. They're made changes and trying to make it better. Okay. Minnesota is better for what Trump and ICE and all have done. But I'm sure the mayor and the governor will disagree with me, and that's quite all right. You can disagree with me too. A lot of what I have to say is my opinion, but there's also a lot of people that agree with me as well. So there's all kinds of data out there about this divisiveness. And some of this is going to probably shock you. I had my feelings, my opinion, but once I started researching, I started going, wow, it's even worse than I thought. Historically, there's been people in the way past, and even, 20 years, 25 years ago, there were a lot of extreme right-wing people that caused problems. There's still extreme right-wing people. I don't like them. They need to straighten up and not do crazy things. Just like the left, extreme left needs to straighten up. Problem is the left is more left. It's become very progressive over the years. And here's some facts here. Left-wing extremist violence has risen over the last decade, accelerating since 2016. Okay. Most researchers say that 2025 was the most violent year politically. Okay. Violent year politically. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there was more violence. There was more violence politically in 2025. And I'm referencing 2025 because that was only a couple of months ago. But it was the most violent year politically in over 3 decades for left-wing attacks. Left-wing attacks. The Center for Strategic and International Studies notes that left-wing extremist incidents was greater than it has been in 30 years. Let me re-say that. Left-wing extremist violence has been greater than it has in the last 30 years. I'm not saying there hasn't been violence on the right. So sit back down, get off your keyboard, and don't be saying I'm nuts and crazy and I only go for the left. No, I don't like violence, period. So what I'm pointing out is the fact that the left, and not only I'm saying this, but others and researchers are saying, the left is responsible for the divisiveness that has occurred and occurring in the United States of America. Cancel culture. The rhetoric from cancel culture is ridiculous. What we hear, I hear it daily. I read it daily. I hear it daily. It's ridiculous. Coming from the left, attacking not only me, but attacking other people who happen to be leaning on the right-hand side. We're not extremists. We just happen to be on the right. They say that people like me that vote for opponents like the President of the United States, Donald Trump, that we're racist, misogynist, or we're stupid. Not to mention Nazis. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know why they have to be so angry. I get excited and I get passionate about things, and maybe I come across like I'm angry. I'm not angry. You can ask anybody in my family, anybody that knows me well. I'm a very passionate person. So if you think I'm angry, I'm not angry. I get upset, and maybe I do get a little angry, but I'm not angry as in crazy. I'm not going to go do anything crazy. I'm not going to run out there and start calling people racist, and it's ridiculous. The Democratic Party has experienced internal rifts as well because of the establishment and then the insurgent of what's going on, or should we say the progressives. There's rifts within the Democratic Party because you have the establishment, the people that have been there, and they want the Democratic Party to be like this. And the progressives are coming in and changing it and trying to make it more, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, make it more socialist. There's a lot of people in this country that believe that they're trying to make us into a socialist country, like Cuba, Venezuela, other countries that are socialist. And trust me, that's a whole nother topic, but we don't want to be a socialist country by any means. So contextually, if you look at the research, it shows that the American left became roughly 31.5% more socially liberal between 1988 and 1924, which has basically driven this polarization that we're dealing with. Again, I'm not saying the right doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm saying the left has the most to do with it. I think the right's tried. We try to be understanding, but holy cow, when we're getting attacked left and right, left and right, left and right, and I should be saying left, 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 attacking the right, 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 right. It's like ICE agents. When they're being attacked, we get defensive. We can't help it. In the left's eyes, somebody on the right can do nothing right, nothing correctly. We're stupid. We don't know what we're talking about. We only watch one kind of news. Well, I watch all kinds of news. I listen to all kinds of news. I research all kinds of news because I have to know what I'm talking about when I talk to you. Okay? Do I lean right? Yes, I do. Am I more of a libertarian in my thoughts in not wanting so much government and wanting people to be able to do what they feel is okay for them as long as it doesn't harm other people? Absolutely. But I lean right because I believe more in the Constitution and I believe in more of the principles of what the right stands for compared to what the left stands for. Not saying that there's nothing on the left that I don't agree with. There may be something that I agree with on the left-hand side too. And maybe we could discuss that as a topic sometime. At the same time that the left has moved 31.5% more to the progressive side, the right, hold on, don't fall out of your chairs, don't wreck your car, please. The right's moved 2.8% more conservative in that same period. So the right's only moved 2.8, but the left's moved 31.5%. Do you understand where I'm coming from? That's what's causing the problems. And the left, having moved that way, has these super strong opinions. And I feel like a lot of anger. That's why they wish harm upon people like our president. That's why they celebrate when people like Charlie Kirk are assassinated. That's why they put up horrible, horrible memes and stuff when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. That's horrible. Everybody that believed in that needs to go say some prayers. Ask God for forgiveness. Because none of us should be celebrating somebody's death, somebody's murder, somebody's assassination. Even if it's somebody's death accidentally or it's old age, I would never celebrate somebody's death. There's families that are hurting. There's people that are hurting when someone passes away. Although it should be a celebration, we're all going to miss those people, but then we also celebrate because that person's going to be with God, and they're going to be in a better place than we are down here fighting because of the polarization that's going on, mainly because of what the left has done. You wonder where this information came from. It's from Cambridge. You can look it up. I'm not just pulling this out. And just to kind of give you an idea of where Cambridge stands, they stand and claim to be basically neutral. They don't, some of your higher education places lean too far to the right or too far to the left, too far to the left, too far to the left, too far to the left. No, I'm not a robot and got stuck. It's because they lean to the left. I'm trying to make a point. Institutionally, they're basically neutral. They try to be neutral. But if you take a look at their faculty, they tend to skew to the left more so than to the right. And that is definitely something you see in your higher education, especially your Harvards and some of your more expensive institutions to attend. Although attending college now, a university now, is quite expensive for anybody. Another topic, another time. Part of their study, I'm going to go into it, is the division within the U.S. population on social and political issues has increased by 64%. The majority of it came after 2008. Okay, and this is according to their study tracking and what was going on. It all kind of stemmed from that time. It was changing all these years from 88 on up, but it kind of became more in 2008 and definitely has become more so in about the last 10 years. And not everybody, excuse me, the left will blame Trump. It's all Trump. It's all Trump. Trump did this. Trump did that. Trump's a horrible human being. Trump. I disagree. Does Trump do things and say things sometimes that he shouldn't? Absolutely. I agree. It doesn't make me happy when he does that. And does that cause issues between the two sides? Absolutely. But you don't need to lose sleep over it, okay? He's a human being. He's going to make mistakes. He should be more presidential sometimes, not do those kind of things. But again, this segment is about how this divisiveness, this polarization between the left and the right here in America, for the most part, is coming from the left. In 2008, Obama took office. We had a financial crisis. The Apple Store came out. The division went up. It steadily kept growing. And this you can find in the Royal Society of Open Science, is from their studies. That's what they show. It shows that the polarization just continued to grow. Right-leaning Americans, as I've said before, have remained fairly stable, about a 2.8% move more to the right. And I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying this is my opinion. I'm not saying this is a fact. I'll ask this as a question more so. Has the right moved 2.8% to the right because of what's been going on the left? Has it kind of forced them, made them feel like they need to be more because the left is moving so far to the left? I mean, I don't know. Think about it. I mean, I'd love to hear your opinion. I value people's opinions. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to agree with you, and I may even comment. But if I agree with you, I'll tell you I agree. So basically what I'm saying is, I think, in my opinion, especially after I researched, I had the opinion that that's the way it was. I didn't know that it was such a huge difference that the left had moved so far left. As far as numbers go, I'm glad that some other people have done some research that I could find and read about it. So what am I saying? I think the right needs to try to be understanding, try not to be divisive, try not to be argumentative. But I think the left needs to take a real hard look at themselves. Look at what they've done, how they've moved to the left over the last moved to the left, especially since 2008, but since 1998, 31.5%. And see if they can begin to move more to the center. Maybe the right can move a little more to the center. And we can all get along a little better. We're always going to have disagreements. Not everybody's going to think the same. There's people on the right that I don't agree a lot about the items that they say, and there's people on the left I don't agree. But then it's vice versa. I may agree with somebody on the left about something and agree with somebody on the right about something. It's about compromise, okay? It's about trying to get our voices heard and getting the right and the left congressional people to hear us and pass the laws and do the things that we want them to do. Again, I think if the left really tried hard and kind of looked internally and saw themselves, we might see some improvement. It needs to come from both sides, but the left, y'all need to really, really, really move back to the middle. Before I close, I wanted to revisit something that I said before. In the last episode, we talked about photo ID for voting. So I just wanted to very quickly make a comment, and then we'll be done, get out of here, and you can go. I saw kind of on researching ICE that the Democrats are calling for ICE to show an ID card before they do anything. But they don't want us to show a picture ID to vote. Doesn't make sense to me. And last but not least, when Democrats go to their own convention, the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, Democrats require a photo ID to enter. But they don't want to require a photo ID to vote. What do you think? Until next time, see you then.